Our coverage of Canton Confidential, the Karen Read murder trial. Today, prosecutors and the defense, they each delivered opening statements. And just looking at reaction on social media, a lot of you out there feel like some better than others. We also heard from our first witness in that case as well. Witnesses, it is a big day in the case, big day in the Commonwealth here. So for analysis, let's bring in NBC 10 political commentator Sue O'Connell joining us live from the newsroom right now. Sue, let's get right to it. Who, in your opinion, delivered the better opening statement and why?
Well, you know, Colton, I tried to put myself in the shoes of the jury during today's opening statements, and I have to say I think Karen Read's defense attorney, David Yannetti, did a better job. Remember, the prosecution has to deliver an opening statement. The defense does not, but they usually do. And the opening statement is usually an outline of what the evidence will establish. And prosecutor Adam Lally's opening listed a lot of names, a lot of information, and I found it sometimes difficult to follow. And I know who all the witnesses are and what the evidence intends to, the state intends to present. So I was a little confused. Defense attorney Yannetti, on the other hand, opened with emotion, saying, quote, Karen Read was framed, end quote. And then he went on to set out a clear, easy to follow outline of what the defense intends to prove. Now, of course, it's only the first day, but first impressions matter.
Indeed, they do. So the first two witnesses for the prosecution, we know now, John O'Keefe's brother, Paul, and Paul's wife, Erin O'Keefe. What did they say, and also what did they add to the storyline here?
Yeah, Colton, John's brother, Paul, gave us a picture of who John O'Keefe as a person, as a man, as a brother was. And of course, centering the victim here is very important. Also for us to keep in mind that someone tragically died as we're covering this case. And Paul tearfully remembered how John moved into their sister's home to take care of his niece Kaylee and nephew Patrick, who were just 6 and 3 at the time. Both of their parents had died. And also, of the 3 siblings, Paul is the only surviving O'Keefe. And both Paul and his wife, Erin, gave the jury a picture of the relationship between John and Karen Read, both indicating that Karen was involved in the kids' lives, and sometimes John and Karen fought about Karen spoiling the kids and taking them to Dunkin' Donuts before school. They fought about some other things as well. But they also established how bad the weather was on the day that John O'Keefe died.
It'll be interesting to see how the jury reacts to that, you know, sort of painting him out as this family. You were down there today, Sue, and because the trial was moved to a smaller courtroom, Karen Read supporters, they gathered outside and they were able to listen to the opening statements. Set the scene for us. What was the environment like? What was it like there?
Well, Colton, because of the move to the smaller courtroom and because people started lining up at 6 a.m., I couldn't get in because there was only room for 10 members of the press. Doors opened at 9:20. I got there at about 7:30, 7:45, and I was already too late. But the crowds outside are still there in force. Of course, the vast majority wearing pink to signify support of Karen Read. That buffer zone still in place, holding people who are holding signs about a block away from the court. But supporters that aren't holding signs, they're strolling back and forth in front of the courthouse. And traditional media obviously are there, as well as plenty of bloggers, social media, YouTube, broadcasters, all there outside the court. One Read supporter told me that he didn't expect the crowds to be this big every day. Remember, this is expected to be a 4 to 6 week trial. So very much a scene, though, today at the Dedham Courthouse.
All right, you got a busy 4 to 6 weeks ahead of you. Our
Indeed.
NBC 10 political commentator, Sue O'Connell. Sue, thank you. We always appreciate your insight.
You're welcome.
Analyst as well. All right, and a reminder, there's a lot to follow here. Stay with our team at NBC 10 Boston and our sister station NECN for continuing coverage of the Karen Read trial. We're going to carry all of that live testimony over on NECN as well as NBCBoston.com and all of our streaming platforms. And every night, including tonight, 7 p.m. on NBC 10 Boston, our Canton Confidential special, that is going to provide some in-depth analysis into exactly what unfolded inside that courtroom.